You there?
Are you there? You locked up for a second, or did I lock up? Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I did hear a little dead zone there.
Yeah. I see that StreamYard makes it now. It's actually nice. If you're doing podcasts or whatever, you can actually record to the cloud everybody's sounds separately. Like I guess what it's coming out of their microphone. So if the reception is a little spotty, I guess when you get the sound, all that will be taken out because it's recording on their end. So,
nice.
Yeah, it makes it. I mean, I
like a mix. Like you can mix everybody's.
Yeah, and then
they're look how far things are, right? Before you'd have to get like a mixing table and all that freaking technology. Now they design these fucking these programs just do it all for you.
Oh yeah, it makes it nice. And then what makes it nice is like, if you get a guest that's too hot. I know we've had that issue before, or too low. Which I can bring up low and I can bring down high, but I can't do that when it's mixed in with our voices. So if I had the separate recording, it's not an issue at all. I can do all that.
No, it's crazy. I mean, I'm literally just when I started doing this, what was it, 7 years ago? The ridiculous freaking Frankensteining shit together that we were doing just to have anything like remotely like professionally done without needing to hire somebody to do it and understand it, because now it's just, I mean, I'd say freaking anybody could do it, but I've seen some folks even fuck up the most simplest of things.
Yeah, I know. Anybody that has the ambition of wanting to do better has the ability to do better.
Well, but it's not even that complicated. It really isn't. I mean, it's real simple. So, I dare I even say it's even easy. It just is.
Yeah.
I was using what the hell? I can't remember what I was using back in the day, but that was back when I used to have to freaking copy my key.
Oh, your OBS
into OBS, and then like I had to have every like the different views. I could put in names, but then it was like it just wasn't very simple. It wasn't like now if I just want to type in a name, I could type in a name. Even the program that I use for my Mac, the Ecamm, I mean, it's just like every layer is just spelled out for you. Where back then it was like, you had to have a little bit of a computer engineering just to have some sort of naming at the bottom, to even have some sort of overlays. But
yeah, it's crazy, of how far it's come. And it just, I mean, I look back at some of our and I'm glad, I'm not glad, but when YouTube decided to delete a ton of our videos earlier this year, I'm like, oh, thank God some of them old ones are gone. They were bad. They were real bad, just even audio, video, but it's but at least you saw the progression. It's I don't know how many camcorders I went through, probably 3, always upgrading and going to the next and best thing.
Oh yeah. It's like watching the early stages of Baby Einstein, when that chick would just put like a ball in front of the camera and then a freaking train in front of the camera, and then they give her like $8 million and then they freaking create a fortune from it.
Oh yeah, it's insane. I was on the Canon forum today looking for suggestions on new cameras, because now it's to the point I don't understand any of it. I don't understand it's just, and my thing is I don't need a damn camera. I need a really good camcorder. I don't go outside and take pictures with these cameras. I turn them on and I video. That's what I need, is just a couple of really nice video cameras, all the camera capabilities, stuff I don't need.
It's funny when you say that, because I've gone into Best Buy and I've asked them questions like that, because I'm like, I want a camcorder that I can use for my show, but then also if I take it out to record, they're like, well, you can do that with the cameras.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I didn't ask that. Okay, I'm asking you. Is well, yeah. There's this, but why do you want to do that? You have this. You could do that with this. And then I think I just get so they're probably giving me the best advice and probably really like guided me in the right direction, but I get very irritated. I'm just like, I'll just go back home. And
it's like it'd be like living in a gated community with a speed limit of 35. And you never leave that community, and you buy a car that's got a turbo on it, and it's like, you don't need that turbo. How much for the car? Just take it off. I just need a car. You're like, well, it's got the turbo in it.
The turbo,
so
fast you go.
So it's just like the camera. There's, all of this functionality inside of a camera that I will never utilize ever. I just need a really good camcorder. And then Canon makes some nice camcorders, but I don't know the difference between the camcorders because there's more options there. So I jumped on the Canon community today. I'm like, I need help, people. I just can't spend. They have these cameras that are $5-6 grand a piece. Like, what? I'm not a professional photographer.
Mm-hmm. I'm not making movies. I'm not an independent filmmaker here.
Okay?
Well, I had this guy, one of the guys at Best Buys too, is, he was talking to me and he said that he started telling me he does all this extra work on the side. And I got his card and I called him. I can't get him to call me back. This is a while back. And I'm like, well, I don't like, if you're going to do something, if you're going to have a side hustle, it's the operative word is hustle, not lazy. It's not a side stroll. It's not a side casual walk. It's a side hustle. So if you're hustling your ass off to make some extra cash, or maybe this is your passion, why in God's name are you just blowing me off?
I've got photographer friends the same way. When my daughter had some pictures taken as well. We're using a friend of ours. I go someone else. Use somebody else. Don't go with your friend. No, she's giving us a good deal. No, go with your friend. You're going to be pushed down the list and you're going to be pissed off. 6 weeks later, she still doesn't have the photos, because it's your friend. Because your friend's like, oh, I got all these other gigs.
Mm-hmm.
Amber's a friend of mine. I cut her a break anyways. So if it takes a couple extra weeks, and that's not what she said, but I know that's what she's thinking because I've had friends do the same thing. Just like, oh, I'm giving them a good break anyways. They can wait a little bit longer. No, just don't. Just go someone else. Go someone else that you don't know. I had a really good photographer friend of mine. Like I said, I used them a couple times, did fantastic work. And then the very first project he kind of blew me off on. Never again have I used it.
Nope.
I won't do it anymore. Yeah, that was loud.
That was really loud. Well, let's do our intro. Since it's all two of us.
That's it.
And then I may have to I don't think we can pause this, can we?
You can just let it go and then we go back in later, we can edit it out.
Yeah, or I can give or you can start a topic because I won't be on very long. But anyways, go ahead. I apologize.
Right. I'm Broadleaf Bully Kevin.
And I'm Broadleaf Bully Kerr. And we are the
Broadleaf Bullies.
We talk. You listen. We are the Broadleaf Bullies. And here's your hosts, Kev, Kerr, Jessie, and Jen.
You should have pulled it down right as it said Kevin and Kerr, and then just pulled down
I didn't even think about that. That's great. You're absolutely right.
Oh my God. So that's what I've got going on now is cameras. That's what I look forward to. So
always trying to up the game, always trying to improve. It's I'm due for some upgrades too. I think, become 2023. Once we kind of get through the holidays and everything, I'm working on closing in this area here, and then I got to work on getting some better lighting, and then shift to cameras, different cameras as well. Because I've had this stuff for a while. It served us well, but it's time to, since this is permanent home, this is permanent workspace, this is permanent freaking show space, is permanent studio. I think I'll just kind of have to build like maybe a little like a rack up top here, something with lights, something that is going to be very simplistic. It's plug and play now, but I think we have the ability now to make it take it to the next level.
Oh yeah, and then you'll be known in your at work. You know, you got to hop on a call with Kerr. You should see his background. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't. I literally. I just. I bought a headset from that bin time for $5.
Yeah,
and that's what I use for work. I popped that on; it freaking works great. And I've actually taken it with me when I've done live shows from a lounge or something. I bring this, but I'll bring that too because I've been able to finagle a way to get both microphones to work, and that thing works great. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, you know, they make some nice ones. I know Cigar Coop, and then Matt and Nicole Tobacco. You know, they all use the headsets as well, and I think so does Aaron Loomis. And it's definitely easier. You know, flip it up the mic. You know, turn it on and off. And but yeah, I don't. You know, for a show, I don't know. I like having my mics out of the way and not really seen. And you know, some people like it. You know, some people have them like all the way up. You see no shows where like they're half inch
like
from
mine.
No, yours is fine like that, but no, when it's all the way up. Yeah, when it's all the way to their face and you can't see half their face, and I'm like, what is going on there? You know, so
no, my old microphone, I used to have to. I noticed that like in its last days,
yeah,
it was like,
yeah,
hello, how are you doing? This is Kerr. Just because it wasn't picking up anymore. And then it just shit the bed. But I had that thing for freaking ever in a day.
Yeah, but good, I mean, good microphones will last. You know, I've been working with this one for years now.
Yeah,
you know, and I mean, once we build the new lounge, we're going to get a couple of different microphones, and we'll have the board set up, with the mixing board and everything else, and that'll be a whole nother fucking ordeal, But
yeah, I mean, if it's like you said, if it's good equipment. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's why, my laptop's been with us for a while. That Yeti microphone I had for eons.
Yeah.
And these lights I've had for a real long time. And they do a great job. I just want something that is a little bit more consistent, and actually has a little bit more even lighting. I also want to put a fan in here with a better lighting system. And I do like how you have the hanging lights.
Yeah.
You like that? I'd like to get I've seen a couple different types of hanging lights like that where it's instead of independent, it's like a row of them, a little bit more rustic. So there's a couple of things I want to definitely dress up around here. That's my dad. We were I don't know where the hell, I can't remember where I got this. I think I got this at like the Dollar General or something, or at some store. It's like, maybe this will be great for the show.
Yeah.
In case I'm gonna tell some ghost stories.
That's it. Wrap some cheesecloth around it, and I know one thing that might go with your lighting in here. I had the tracks up in here, which I'm probably going to put a track system in the new lounge too. But the smaller tracks, like in a hospital, for the curtains. There's a company that makes for workshops and stuff for your home, and it's thin plastic. So I want to be able to stretch a green screen, and get like a 20-foot green screen.
Yeah.
Tuck it out of the way, and then just pull the curtain on the green screen. Be able to pull it nice and tight, and then shove it out of the way when we're not using it.
We had that, and it was I kind of did it the freaking old-fashioned way where I had the bar hung up.
Oh yeah,
and I had to crack it down, and then I would take it down and then just kind of roll it up. And put it, because we had a little shelf at the bottom, that little brick shelf. I'd put it down there. But yeah, I mean, having a green screen like that is definitely, like with what you do with some of the shit I've seen that you guys have been doing, it's definitely advantageous.
Oh yeah, and they also make one, and I gotta look to see if they make one a little wider, because I gotta look into the company. it just rolls down like the old projectors in school. Yep. You know, you pull it down and it's always, and then you just put it up. And I saw a company that, and like they only did like 6 foot. I need one like 12 feet, you know, which would be nice just to be able to have it.
I wonder if you got one like somewhere inexpensive, like maybe used, right? And just painted it green.
Oh yeah, you know, you could do that because it's just because it's just about any color green. I know that they do
my
have
green. My green is green cloth. I can go to Joann Fabric.
Yeah,
that's all I was telling Bones at one time. Like, go to Joann Fabric and just get like this freaking Kelly green or whatever. Get that and just get a big freaking and just tack it on your wall. It's the same concept.
Yeah, I saw my buddy David Skelton of Texas Cigar Roadshow. He's actually just moved into a new house and he's converting one of the rooms to a man cave. He painted his walls. Everything is green.
Yeah. I was gonna say you could do the same thing as well.
Yeah, all the walls are, you know, just but he's a filmmaker, so I mean he can replace all that, which is easy. But I'm like, oh, that's genius. Just paint the walls.
Yep.
But yeah, you could probably paint if you found one of them old projector screens. Yeah, it wouldn't be too hard just to paint it.
Nope, paint it green or freaking, you know, or you could. I mean, it depends on rolling it up, but I mean. We just had that, you know, we actually got 3 cloth drapes. We got green, blue, and white.
Yeah.
So we had the white for pictures and then blue and green screen. But the green just, it was funny is the one time I bought the kids for it was for Comic-Con. You ever see those freaking like leotard suits that are all freaking one color with the hat with the mask and everything? Well, my kids got green ones, right? Yeah. And the one show I was talking and I had Emma handing me stuff. Yeah. With the green screen and you couldn't see because she had her arm in her glove.
Yeah.
And you know, with the green, you couldn't see anything.
Yeah. I was doing that commercial for Bridgestone a couple years ago, and
sorry about that.
No, yeah, just keep it going. We'll cut this out later.
Right. And we're back.
And we're back. You know, I was looking for that.
Wait, look at there, bro. All right.
I was looking for that TikToker that I can't remember his name. And I actually should just go in my I actually have his phone number. That's probably what I should. I have so many phone numbers though, just as easy going through the TikTok. But I'm just scrolling through and I'm looking at all of these people that I'm following that made fun of me for being on TikTok. Oh, it's awesome. All of these cigar people that I follow that made fun of me, and now they're all on TikTok.
I know, right?
And what's awesome is none of them are doing well. None of them. Most of them have given up. Like they don't even make videos anymore. Right. But it's hilarious that they're not doing anything. I love that.
That's because people are. I mean, it's everybody's so quick. It's so easy to criticize, right?
Yeah.
It's especially if you got a beef against someone. It's so easy to criticize. It's so easy to fucking throw your 2 cents out in your opinion and mock. And I don't know. I think sometimes like the I don't want to say disgust, but the disdain or dislike for you was that great that they couldn't freaking even foresee the future of things and how things were going. That they took a layup on mocking you on something and didn't realize that they were going to have to travel down that freaking path one day and have to eat their own words.
Yeah, you know, it was when Elon Musk. I've been on Twitter for a while, same as you. You know, I really haven't been taking it seriously. But when he was going to go through with buying it, and then everybody is up in arms. Oh my God, going to destroy Twitter. I'm like, I need to figure this shit out because Twitter is going to explode. Yeah, you know. And so I've been busting my hump for 3 weeks now. You know, getting my followers, being more engaging. I paid the $8 a month, not necessarily for the blue check mark. I can. A lot of people don't know. You pay that $8 a month, you can upload 10-minute videos on Twitter now.
Yeah, you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm starting to upload longer videos on Twitter, which I forgot to do my tech tip on Twitter today. So I'll make a note as soon as that show's over.
See, everyone loves, and here's the beautiful irony of what's going on with Twitter and Elon Musk, right? Is everyone freaking loved Twitter when they could post whatever they want, and the opposing voice was getting silenced and getting deleted and getting removed, and everything was fucking cool because it was the righteous thing. But now when you have someone coming in going, listen, that ain't going to happen anymore. Actually, I'm just going to, it's going to be kind of, I'm not going to, it's going to be, open for everyone,
Yeah.
And knowing if someone leans in the opposite direction towards their view, then everyone gets all upset and they want to freaking start pulling out and they think it's not fair and they're going to stop doing this. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know. Sometimes I feel, Kev, when you see something so obvious like that, I'm waiting for the punchline, because I feel like I'm either completely gone, I'm nuts, or I'm waiting for like someone to be like, nah, dude, you're on candid camera. Like, this is a joke, because it's so obvious, but it never happens.
I heard like President Biden made a remark that maybe the government should look into what Elon's doing. Like, A, that's a private company, and B, it's not something that's necessary to the human existence. If you don't like, it's a platform, it's a social media platform. Just don't use it.
Yeah.
Like what is looking into it? What is, I don't understand that. It's a private company doing private business on a platform that none of us need. It's not essential to our data. It's not like an energy company. It's not like whatever,
Well, none of it is that, or Facebook or anything, but it's like it's getting information out there, and it.
Oh, it was. I love the comment that Elon made, and it was someone said something about the blue check marks. You're just gonna like devalue like the check mark, and he's like, no, like I forget what his word, paraphrasing, is like, who are you? Who are you to have a blue check mark and this person isn't? But same thing. I try and put out quality news, so just because I don't have a blue check mark next to my name, you can't trust me, but you can trust CBS, CNN, Fox, NPR.
Pardon my ignorance, but what the fuck's the blue check mark?
Oh, so on every social media platform, TikTok, Instagram, you'll see that blue check mark next to someone's name. That means that they were verified. That means they're a real they're a real person that contributes to society for the good. I don't know what that means, but
who's determining that?
Who is determining that? That's the thing. Because you can have, so some people, it can take years to get that blue check mark, but then someone will say Ice-T, because I just watch a TikTok with him. He jumps on TikTok tomorrow. Tomorrow he has his blue check mark. He doesn't have to wait. That he's instantly verifiable because he's famous, and now he gets the blue check mark. So, but yeah, it's
blue check mark.
I do not have a blue check mark on any platform. So, because I know Instagram only. Well, they say to get blue check mark verified, you got to cite all of these. You got to give examples of your contributions to the written magazines or whatever. And it's just what is, Taylor Swift has a blue check mark. The Kardashians have it. They don't write shit. I don't know if they can even read. So
it sounds like the only thing a blue check mark just says is that you are that person and you're not a phony, or you're and I think if you want to do something like that in order to stop all these freaking duplicates, because I heard of, you got to look it up, man. It's the best fucking story. It was Dave Chappelle talking about his argument with Cat Williams on Twitter, and everybody, he said, I showed up and I was like, dude, man, Cat Williams is here. And he's like, I'm not on Twitter. He goes, it was a fake Dave Chappelle. He goes, who actually is pretty funny. He goes, so I'm following him. He goes, then all of a sudden he got real dark. He goes, and I guess he went after Cat Williams, and Cat Williams is like, Dave Chappelle, fuck that, no good, blah, 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 blah. He goes, so he tells the story about how when he approached Cat Williams about it, Cat Williams is just like, what are you talking about? I'm not on Twitter. He said it was fake Cat Williams and fake Dave Chappelle.
Oh my God.
And everyone thought they were both the real person.
Oh my God, how awesome is that?
The story's hilarious. You got to look it up on YouTube. I freaking pissed myself.
Oh my God, I'll definitely have to look that up. But yeah, so it's just the blue check mark controversy now. It's because if you pay $8 and you get verified, I think you got to put in your driver's license or passport or something. I don't know what it is, and then it's so you're a real person. That's the way it should be. Let
me tell you something. I don't know if I'm just being freaking old and paranoid, but this weekend, we went down to Jacksonville and Jennifer bought tickets to the Bill Burr concert on Friday, which was great. He's fucking hilarious.
I've probably watched half hour of him today on various.
Oh my God! Yeah. And what's amazing is that this is all new shit.
How awesome! Stuff. Yeah.
And not only is it all new stuff, he does his research and he makes everything. It is my first real big comedy show I've been to. He makes everything specific. Like he was really getting into the whole Jacksonville thing and Florida. It was, brilliant. It was brilliant. So we're waiting in line. I find out that we got to put the artists don't want live. They don't want cameras and video recordings. So they use Yonder. So your phone's got to go in this bag and it's sealed, and you got to get it freaking unlocked when you leave, so you can't take pictures or videos of the show. So I'm kind of like, all right, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
What I get it, but then in the same,
I get it with Bill Burr. I mean, you could take 10 seconds out of something that he says, and it will explode on social media. Can you believe what Bill Burr said? Well, why don't you play the other 3 minutes of the skit?
But I also can see how people can steal stuff. I can also see how people can make money, like on his content. I get it, but then I'm sitting there in a stadium looking at 12,000 other. 11,999 other people who have their fucking phones in bags going, there's 5 people outside unlocking bags. This thing's going to go real fast, right? So I'm like, this is going to be a clusterfuck. So as we're waiting, there's this bar thing. And I'm like, what is this? And she's like, well, you don't have to wait in line for your drinks. What you do is you scan it and then you take it. And I'm like, well, I don't, my fucking phone's going to be in a bag. She's like, I know. Well, what you do is you take your picture and then you enter your information. And then when you go to their drink area, you pick in what you like to drink. So you go to this drink area and they freaking scan your face and then go, okay, yeah, you're carried. Here's your drink. So you go and then you pay for it. You got to. So I'm like, okay, so first thing I take my picture. Second thing, it's like scan your license. I'm like, no. So now what they have you doing is scanning your face, scanning your license, putting in your credit card number. So now all I have to do, freaking George Jetson, is walk up to an area, stand in front of a camera, have them freaking do the 28 points of freaking identification on my face, and then I can get a drink? Nah, I just went over and just waited in a small line and got my drink.
Yeah, so everybody has your information of where you're at, what you were doing.
I told Jennifer
what you're drinking.
I'm like, I said, first of all, I'm like, we deal with my work. We deal with a lot of sensitive information. We do a lot of so many freaking things you got to think of when it comes to for PHI, personal health information, but also, personal information. I'm like, I don't know what type of security system this company has. They could freaking sign up 5,000 of the 15,000 people at the show, and if they do that every show, there's 5,000 people. Someone hacks that, they have your face, they have your facial recognition, they have your driver's license, they have a credit card. I mean, you're done. Technology is great, and I get it. I'm amazed by it.
Yeah, or that information leaks out. Hey, or something happens after the show, or a couple hours later, it's like, oh, hey, Kerr, we know you were at the show, and we know you had 7 drinks at the show. We had this incident happened.
Or flags you. Hey, you can't get any more drinks. That's your 4th one. Can't get it. Okay, so I'm getting flagged by a computer, by freaking AI. So what the hell happens next? The police pull me over. They run my driver's license. They're like, listen, we're connected with freaking bartender, and you said you had a drink, but here it says you had 8. you know,
yeah, oh yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I know I go down a rabbit hole with this, but I'm completely like blown away at technology and how awesome it is. But I'm like, it's so dangerous. So dangerous. I'm ready just to buy a fucking flip phone and go off the grid.
It is, you know, and people like said those Facebook games, you know, oh, which celebrity do you look like? Do you have any idea what that's doing when you give a third party, a third company, what your facial, and like I said, they're taking them 27 points off your face, and then it just goes away. You know, not even Facebook's holding on to it. And it's like, you don't think they're doing anything with all those photos and of watching your progression, you know, of time goes on. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's crazy, but the show was great. Bill Burr was awesome.
He's hilarious.
It was, wow, man. He just dove down into some really crazy shit too. He was good. He was really good, but we ended up leaving. Based off of the crowd leaving there, we probably left about 10 minutes left in the show to get up because we had good seats to get freaking our shit unlocked to get to our car. And by the time we got to our car and we're driving out, we could see people were already filing out. Yeah. So it was like, you know, I get the whole Yonder thing, and I'm like, man, kudos to these people for freaking. That shit should be in schools, whatever. But I'm like, you know, I'm thinking, you know, what happens if I'm sitting there and all of a sudden it's like, boom, boom, active shooter. Let me call the police. Oh, wait, let me find an attendant who can unlock my freaking bed. Yeah. Oh, my wife just got shot. Let me call for help. Well, hold on. Excuse me. Can you get my bag here real quick? Just get the magnetic thing because I'd really like to call for help right now, you know, or send out. But it was I felt old and crotchety. Yeah, I did. I felt really old and crotchety about it. I mean, I'm sure in a case of emergency, that bag will. I probably could have ripped that thing right off. I mean, I get that, but still. Oh, the fuck. Here's this great, right? We're going to see Bill Burr, the comedian, right? We're not going to go see Joe Biden. Yeah, we're not going to a Trump rally. Right, we're not there to see Rob DeSantis. We're at Bill Burr. So we go in, metal detector, walk through. Okay, great. Walk in, scan your freaking tickets. Okay, great. After you scan your tickets, they wand you down. Okay, they wand you down. So we go in. Now, leading up to the event, there are certain areas where you can go and get your phone unlocked and use your phone. Yeah. So we go up because Jennifer needed to call Joe, and we get up there, and it's a security guy and a lady. Jennifer gives the lady her bag. She gives her phone, and then she's got a roped off area where Jennifer can take 3 steps, get on her phone, text message, do what she needs to do. It's a little secure area. And she goes back and gets the phone put back in the bag. Security guy, whoa, hold on a second, wands her again. I'm like,
what? Yeah. Yeah. Like I didn't go anywhere.
I'm like, so many smart ass comments go through my head, and I'm like, you know, it wasn't like she got a shiv from an imaginary person. Yeah. There's no one there. It was fucking no one. Yeah. It was a 15 by 15 area. No one. Jennifer took 3 steps, used her phone, took 3 steps back, put her both, and he fucking wandered. Yeah. I just start laughing.
And you know, you can't say anything because it'd be like the airport. You know, they take their jobs too seriously, and you just get kicked out.
I was like, wait, are you all right? I just looked at Jennifer. She looked at me. We walked away. We were fucking dying. And I was like, well, you know, I said, I don't know what kind of freaking, but you were kind of weapon you were going to gain from a 15 by 15 open area.
Okay. What are you smoking there? Are you smoking that little nub?
I am. I was just getting ready to hop on at the Ash Quarterly, which is a great freaking selection again this month. I'm smoking the nub. I smoked the Alec Bradley right off the bat. That's such a damn good cigar.
Yeah, I've had that one before. It's a good cigar.
Yeah.
I'm smoking the Cohiba that was in there. The Weller Reserve.
Yeah.
So it's great. I've had this cigar before. Take the tube off. Take it off and like all tubos, it's a little moist. So it probably needs to be dry boxed.
Gotcha.
For a day. But it's a stout cigar. It's got some spice, it's got some body to it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I've had to relight it a couple times because it was 71% when I measured it.
Oof.
So it was a little moist, but it's an aluminum tube. Where's that moisture going to go?
Yeah.
Nowhere. So
no. So are we allowed to jump on cigar reviewers?
We can. Why'd you see one that? The one I sent you.
Oh, yeah, I bought one of these too. Hefe.
El Jefe. Why is that? Did you send me one of those? Well, I have one of those from somebody.
Jefe number one is it's
is that Terrazona?
No, it's Azarius Z Mustafa.
Oh, okay. That's where I got it. Z gave me one at one time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in smoking this one.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that his new one with the all Ligero?
This is the number one, which is Connecticut Leaf. And the number two is, I think the is the tough one, is the spicy one. Okay,
no, that wasn't the one I had. I think someone else had, or like that's why I asked Terrazona. I think maybe Terrazona. I don't know, but no,
I'm interested in smoking that cigar. I might say that one for the morning, and check it out. But a couple of things. One, Jacksonville has a very not so robust cigar bar scene.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, so for the size of the town, yeah.
We were in Jacksonville. We were in Jacksonville Beach, and we went to Aromas, which was a nice cigar bar. It was. They had a good humidor. They had some food. They had alcohol, and it was pretty. I liked it. And then the only thing I didn't like is, and I'm just again, I kind of think I'm just kind of picking old school, but they allowed cigarette smoking there.
Oh no!
And I actually watched someone walk into the humidor smoking a cigarette. It just bothered me. But
yeah,
but we went to that one. There was another one called Island Girls, and apparently Island Girls has several cigar bars in that area. So I can't speak to the quality of their cigar lounge, the selection, location, or staff. I can tell you the location was a little bit tougher because we would have had to get parking. It was downtown. It was near the arena where we saw Bill Burr. So it would have been a little tough. And then we went to Goodfellas, which when we pulled in, it was packed and they had live music. It was like a nightclub, and I don't like nightclub type cigar lounges. I just don't. So again, my personal opinion on those things. We did go to St. Augustine, which was incredible. And the place that you recommended that you went to, the Old City Cigar.
Yeah.
What a great lounge, man.
Yeah, fantastic lounge.
Can't smoke, but I'll tell you, a really nice humidor, and I have never seen a more robust Caldwell selection of cigars.
Yeah.
And Roma Craft. And I got the Caldwells done by AJ.
Yeah.
Which were pretty impressive. So I like that.
Good cigars.
Yeah, I mean, just that was a really nice cigar lounge. The other place where you said that you went and sat outside and smoked a cigar, like a little coffee area was by there. That was a really nice cigar. It was a typical, cigars availability in the lounge. I mean, in the humidor. We did stop by one. I took the picture of the Rocky Patel freaking Candle, and I forgot to go back and get some. That was a vape shop.
Oh, was it?
And they had a fantastic freaking humidor.
Wow.
I mean, I was impressed. It was well done. It really was well done. Great selection. The guy was super nice. I just I was really impressed with it. I was. I just they didn't have anything that was really earth shattering. Everyone has the cigars that are like, well, these are local, and it's all those cigars that you and I told you about. And
yeah.
All from Nicaragua, all Nicaragua. Here's our Nicaraguan blends, and I'm like, and then when I told you about, I should send you pictures. We went to the one that was, it looked like it was an old storage unit facility that they turned into a flea market.
Yeah,
and the guy had a freaking cigar lounge in there, or cigar shop.
Yeah,
that's where I got the car. That's where I got the Carl Malone, which is a good cigar.
Yeah.
So, but yes, cigar reviewers. What's your opinion on now? I've seen you do cigar reviews, and I know with this, and I guess I get a little bug up my ass because someone, I'm okay with what? Oh, here's Bully Jen. Oh, yeah, that's sorry. Cigar went through the washer and dryer.
Oh,
probably improved it.
Yeah.
I know you've done cigar reviews, and again, I think I get a bug up my ass when I see a cigar review, which, in my opinion, especially with the way that Ash Quarterly sets it up, you review it on a numerical system, right?
Yeah,
and then you can give your feedback on the tasting notes. And what got me, I think, about this particular review of the Lancero was, first of all, I think when you give way too many opinions, like, hey, I wouldn't try this. Hey, I wouldn't do this. Hey, I think it's like, listen, you're a fucking, it's a study of one. Slow your roll down with that. I think you just need to be as objectively as possible and as honest when it comes to the flavor profiles. If it tastes like shit, you can say it tastes like shit. I'm cool with that. I mean, when you make cigars and you're a cigar maker, you got to have thick skin because not everybody's gonna like your cigar, and that's just the way it is. But I read some comments and I'm like, you're kind of going a little too far.
So, some cigar reviewers try and be. Everybody wants to be Charlie. Everybody wants to be half wheel. I don't want to necessarily say Charlie Minato, but Patrick. But everybody wants to be half wheel, and they don't realize what half wheel does is actually really good. I don't pay attention to the numbers and half wheel. Whatever, an 84 or 93, I pay attention to what's written. The notes that Charlie or Patrick's getting, whether the cigar, did it perform well, did it. If he smoked 3 and they all tunneled or they all shoveled, but he'll give his tasting notes and he'll be like, I really didn't care for this bitter raisin or whatever.
Right.
And I'll be like, oh, hey, I love that flavor.
Right.
That might be something for me. They never say, don't try this cigar, don't buy this cigar. They give you enough knowledge to where you can make up your own mind. And I think Jessica and I try and do that as well. That's why I like doing cigar reviews with her on occasion when we do them, so people get enough information. It's like, all right, maybe I should try that. Or, I'm really on team Kevin. If Kevin didn't really care for it, I'm probably not going to care for it. I'm team Jessica. But you got these people that just go all out and they try and write these elaborate stories. And then they start interjecting their opinion too much. And then that's when you got to back off. It's a cigar review is not necessarily your opinion, as in you should buy this, you shouldn't buy this.
Well, it's also I think it comes down to also some of the commentary that people use the words like if you're and I will quote this, if you're cruising along, you may come across, you might want to pump your brakes. I'm like, listen, really? So now this is a creative writing experiment. You're reviewing a cigar. There's flavors in cigars that I picked up on that I'm not a fan of that other people like. Yeah. Like I tell folks all the time, there's Habanos that I just won't smoke. I think it's too sour.
Yeah.
It has that Habano flavor that I do not like. But there's some people that live and die and swear by that flavor profile and love it. And that for me, it's just not my cup of tea. So whenever I smoke a Habano, I always go into it, and I still smoke them. I'll go into it and go, okay, let's just kind of, let's wipe your palate clean of what you think of what Habanos, and not allow Habano to sway you one way or the other. But I just think that, and I liked when we did the blind 5, because it's very objective. And I just think, and listen, I think I've seen some cigar reviewers. There's one guy, I don't know what his fucking name is, but he's trying to be controversial because he wants to be that one cigar reviewer that will give bad reviews.
Oh yeah. I know there's two of those guys out there, but yeah, I know.
And he's got like the whole, I don't give a fuck, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's like, easy there, buddy. You're trying to sell yourself right now. You're not trying to give a cigar review. You're trying to sell yourself. You're not being objective. And I think that the other part about this, about the review that kind of cracked me up, where I kind of start seeing between the lines, was, the commentary about how the draw, and it was like, 8 out of 10. But then when you read the comments, it's kind of like, hey, what'd you think of that movie? Dude, the movie was 8 out of 10. Yeah, what'd you think? I don't know. The acting was kind of poor. The lighting was bad. I guess it was okay, but it's like, well, your comments aren't reflecting the fucking numbers. So the objectivity over like this, the draw is great, but you say, well, Lanceros are traditionally really, really tight and have poor draw. This didn't. This actually had good draw. It may be a little loose. Really? Like, come on, man. When you start seeing someone even throw in and pepper in some negativity and something that's positive, I kind of, that always makes me chuckle, because I'm like, there's, you can't give a positive score and then have your comments kind of negate and or counter what you're scoring.
Yeah, that's why I like the scoring system that I use and we use for the blind 5. The bulk of the scores is non-objective. Did it burn well? Did it look good? Did it perform? Those are 75%. So my opinion only counts for a small amount. So I could not like the cigar, but as long as it smoked well, had good construction, that the bulk of the score, so you can still get a good score on a cigar, but I don't know who what one of the online reviewers that scores it, and I remember Saka was, it's one of his biggest pet peeves, and it was like, hated the cigar, but yet it still got like a 97. And it's like, what? How is that possible? You hated every part about the cigar.
What's funny is the only system I've ever seen kind of close to that, if you will, and it was Daryl's system. And you see how complex his system is. And he has said, I will rate a cigar, and then at the end, I'm surprised at the score, because it may, and he always says, this cigar is not in my flavor wheelhouse. It is not something I would smoke. It's not something I would like. It's not something that I would smoke all the time. However, when it comes to the construction, when it comes to the flavor profile, when it comes to everything that I'm marking on this cigar, objectively, it scored really well. One of his cigars I think scored really well was one of the Deadwood series.
Yeah.
He's like, that's just a cigar I wouldn't smoke on a regular basis. Just not my alley. He goes, but what a fantastic cigar.
Yeah, and that makes sense with his, with his system. Like I said, you'll read these others, it didn't draw well, and it tunneled and it shoveled, and I really didn't like it, and then it got a 94. Like, what? The cigar was falling apart, and he still gave it a good. That's why it's like, okay. So then you go to their, it was maybe an advertiser, or, whatever else. You don't want to talk bad about it, but I don't know. That's why we got out of doing it. It was just it was getting to the point that it was getting boring for me, just reviewing cigars all the time.
Yeah.
And then for me personally, and I've said it a multitude of times, I said it recently. I just did the Connoisseur Club video reveal Friday night, Saturday night, whenever I filmed that Friday night. And like I said, it just, there's a cigar and that it actually performed really well. And there was a couple of issues with it. And I'm like, and I said, I go, if I'd have known the band on it, I'd have looked over those issues and scored it higher, because they're friends of mine, and then, so it got to the point to where I didn't want to do reviews anymore because I didn't want to hurt the feelings of friends of mine. And then I didn't want other people thinking less of me because I smoked a cigar and like, oh my God, I love this cigar. And then like 2 days later, before the view or after the video comes out, I'm taking a picture with that manufacturer hanging out in the lounge. It's like, oh, it's tough. Like you said, just it's a fine line to walk and still be reputable.
It is, and I have found, and I appreciate kind of our conversations about it, and I appreciate the feedback you've given me on my cigars. It's always been. I think when you trust people, especially when you're making cigars, if you're like, dude, this sucked, this did this, it gives me feedback to go back and talk to the factory because, when you're making when you enter into that realm of getting cigars made, and if you're just someone just buying freaking bundles and putting a cigar band on it, you don't care. There's folks like that. Okay, if that's your gig, that's your gig. Yeah. But if you're really like pushing your cigar and you're, it's something that you are always striving for, construction, perfection and blending and blah 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 blah. You have your trusted folks, and even when you see cigar reviews like that, you take it with a grain of salt. But then, you definitely want to give that feedback to to the factory. So that's why I have trusted folks that I give cigars to, because I don't care. I've picked up a freaking 20th anniversary Fuente, and it was a lot of money, and I smoked it, and it had the worst burn and some not very good flavoring to it. I didn't sit there and freaking want to run out and do a review and say, I paid this much money for this cigar. It's a handmade product. That shit's going to happen from time to time. The other thing I've done a lot of research on in the past is I've had this conversation with one of the local cigar shops, is what is the condition of your humidor? Yeah. Because your humidor condition can affect the burn of a cigar. It just can. If you have a cigar that your system is so inconsistent, what do you think happens to a cigar when it sits in a poorly humidified humidor? It's going to dry, right?
Yeah, all the oils are going to dry. Everything's going to dry out.
Then what do you think happens when all of a sudden it goes in a high humidification system, right? What's going to happen is it's going to soak in that humidity, right? But what's going to happen is it's going to soak in through the freaking wrapper, into the binder, and it may not get all the way to the filler. So when you light it and it starts tunneling, that's because it's freaking lighting dry tobacco that's surrounded by wet tobacco.
Yeah, I've proven that. I've done some videos in the past, to how long it takes to properly humidify a cigar, and if it's in the cellophane, it can take as much as 9 months to a year to go from an overly dry to a proper humidity. And the same on reverse. If you just have an over humidified and you don't dry box it and you just put it in the humidor, the same. It can take 9 months to a year. And people's like, oh, the cigar's a little dry, I'll pop it in my humidor for 2 weeks. That's not how that works at all. No, it like you said, it slowly has to wick its way,
take it out of there. Take it out of cellophane, If you take out of cellophane, you want to get it freaking normal and take a couple weeks.
I've had them where they're in the 50s, and just to go from, we'll say 55 to 65% outside of the cellophane, anywhere between 1 to 3 months. Wow. in a big, and I'm talking about like a big humidor, maybe a desktop humidor where you have less cigars, it's probably going to acclimate just a little bit quicker. But if you have like a big stand up with 1,000 or more other cigars in there, it takes a long time.
But you're not going to hydrate it that quickly either.
No, you don't. That's it. You don't want to. You want that. Like the smoker people, low and slow. low and slow. Let it build up.
So I've had a shop that used to carry my stuff, and it was like, hey man, your cigar, blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, your fucking humidor is a sauna.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think's gonna happen to these cigars? I mean, if you're complaining about mine and then you're pointing out that you did the same thing with this cigar and that cigar, you might want to take a look at your own humidification system. If it just that, I mean, listen, we've gotten cigars from the factory, and there's been issues here and there over the years, and that's going to happen, and you got to address it. And it's like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe we gotta let the San Andreas and Candel, the Sandel, we gotta let that one age a little bit longer because of the freaking oily and the heavier tobaccos. You gotta let it age longer because it takes longer for it to dry out. It's the rainy season. Now this is the rainy season. They're fighting just to keep the freaking, the aging room, which is cold and dry. They're fighting to keep that cold and dry. And you go through this process, and maybe not everything's going to take 90 days to go through proper aging. Maybe it's going to take 120 days.
Yeah.
So and when you get into bigger ring gauges, you're going to have to let it sit even longer. You have to let it sit longer. One of the things that we started doing, maybe I shouldn't say it, but yeah, I won't say it. But it's really helped out with the aging process, and it makes complete sense on what we're doing. But it's knowing the craft and always looking to improve. And I just going back to the original part of the conversation is I've seen cigar reviewers. I know a lot of cigar reviewers over the years, and I think I have seen certain cigar reviewers review a cigar, and I could tell by the look in their face, and by them smoking it, that they did not enjoy it, and they're going, "This is great. This is this. This is that." And I'm like, sponsored by.
I know. I've seen those same reviewers, and you concentrate on, and I used to say that in some of my reviews. It's like look at people's faces when you're their face doesn't lie when they're smoking that, and then just their subtle cues, and it's like they're not enjoying it, and they're battling to find something good about it, and
when the person is even worse, you're like,
exactly.
I know
but I would say. And I would say at least once every month and a half, 2 months. Like I said, I'm reviewing a cigar for a manufacturer, that's coming out. I just had one probably about 6 months ago. Send me, he's like, hey, I want to send you a new cigar. It hadn't been released yet, and I want to know your thoughts, your honest thoughts of it. And I go, don't send me that cigar. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to give you my honest thoughts. And I wrote it all up for him and sent it to him. And I didn't hear back for like a month. And I'm like, dude's pissed at me. And so finally, he sent me an email, and he goes, bro, sorry about holding up. I read your review. I was a little mad, and he goes, but I went and I smoked a couple. And he goes, everything you said was true.
Right.
Every problem that you had with the cigar, I had the same problem. And he goes, it shoveled, it tunneled, it was squishy, it was underfilled. I weighed it against another cigar of the same, and it was grams lighter. And he goes, everything you said was right. And he goes, we're not going to release it. We went back to the factory. We're going to reblend it and or fix it, not reblend it, just fix it. And he goes, I'll get you another one out. And and he appreciated that. And I had one right before PCA. Told them, don't release it.
Yep.
Cigar isn't good. It's your first release of this type of cigar. Don't do it. And they went and they had other people telling them that the cigar was fantastic. And I'm telling him, like, I am an expert, and I don't want to say that, but I know this cigar. I said and they released it, and I don't ever see them advertising it. I don't see anybody ever smoking it.
No, me neither. After we had that conversation you told me about, I saw one announcement, and then that was about it. And
that's it.
And that's why I pick folks like you and Daryl and folks that I know that really, are not going to take my feelings into consideration.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that, because I think when people say they get mad, I think it's and I've gotten some feedback where it was like, there's feedback that you get on a cigar where it's like, okay, this is the feedback that I know is objective, and I know that is something I need to take serious, like construction or certain flavor profiles, or the way that the tobacco is marrying and blending and responding together. And then there's a level of feedback that it's like, okay, this is a little bit more subjective, because I can tell it may not be in your wheelhouse,
Yeah.
And even though this is your feedback, and I appreciate it, if it's a blend that I like and I'm smoking it, and it's a blend that I know in other people, it's like, okay, this is probably just not gonna be in your wheelhouse. So when you get that feedback, you got to take you have to take it with a grain of salt, and at times some folks will just throw all that together, and then you got to kind of learn how to weave in and out of what's subjective and personal opinion, and what is objective, and what is something that you need to take to heart. And I think when you get some feedback that's not good, it's disappointing. It's not that you're mad at the person or you're upset. It's that you're disappointed, because it's like, okay, I really thought that we had this. I really thought the blend was good, or okay, man, fucking construction. So then you got to kind of go back to drawing board. But I'm a firm believer in the stitch in time saves 9. So if you're gonna freaking go, listen, this is not up to par. This fucking is brutal. We got to go back and redo this. It's going to set us back a couple of months. I'd rather be set back a couple of months and get the right thing out than push through something, because I've heard fucking old factual some folks I worked with in the past, just you gotta sell through it. Just sell through it if it's shitty. Why? It's my fucking name, my reputation. You're telling me I should accept a horrible product, a product that hasn't been freaking rolled properly, constructed properly, blended properly, whatever the case may be, and you're telling me I need to just sell through it and push through it because this shit happens? No, I don't think anybody out there who is trying to start and or run and or freaking manage a cigar company is going to say, I got a shitty freaking batch of cigars, I just have to sell through these and push through it. I think that is just horrible advice to give someone. I think it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, because it can break a company, and that's happened recently. And I forgot to mention that to you before. We'll talk about it, after the show or tomorrow. And but yeah, same thing. Company gets a bad batch, and and it was sell through it, and I think it's going to tank the company. A good company, a good person, and I think just trying to sell through a bad batch is gonna tank it.
I got a shitty batch of at the end of what 2020. I got a shitty batch of box pressed freaking cigars. And I start selling them, and I was like, all right, it was kind of like one of those. All right, these are good, these are not good, these are good. And I just got to the point where I was like, fuck it, I just stopped selling. And then as we released the new stuff, I reached out to cigar shops. I'm like, what do you have? I have this. Okay, great. I'll replace it. No cost. I'm get rid of all the old shit off the shelf. I'm gonna give you the new stuff. If you got 20 of them, I'll give you a box of this. We'll just even Steven, and then I ended up taking a bath on that last shipment right before I switched factories, because that freaking set me back. And then I took a minor bath up front, replacing the stuff that was in there, because when they came in, I had people ordering. I was just shipping them out. And then what ends up happening, you ship them out and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to smoke one. You're like, what the fuck? And then you open it up. You're like, what? This is a tobacco wrapped around a cigar. And you're like, son of a bitch. I just sent out freaking like a whole bunch of cigars. And then you just got to do the right thing. You got to say, listen, fucking,
you're right. Out. Yeah, we've got cigars eventually coming in from a good name company but I'm gonna sit on them. I'm gonna sit on them for no less than 30 days. I'm gonna randomly pull some out. I'm gonna try them. I'm gonna hit them with my humidimeter, and I'm just gonna try and do my due diligence so that doesn't happen.
I learned my lesson on that, because when we got the new stuff in, we caught an issue with the Sandella.
Yeah.
Right. And a couple of boxes went out, but we caught an issue with the Sandella where they needed to sit longer.
Yeah.
They needed to age a little bit longer. So we went through the due diligence of making sure that was done. And it was, again, factory was great. We had a conversation about it. The Tabacalera Nuevo Nica, Chris, fucking awesome about everything. We talked about it, and we there was some I think some learning curves with some of the tobaccos that we were using that were never used before, some of the blends that they were doing that were never done before, and then also learning the aging process of some of these thicker, heavier, darker tobaccos. And you have a San Andreas and a freaking Candela wrapper. Okay, well, that's going to take a hell of a lot longer than a freaking Connecticut and a San Andreas and a Candela. So they were great, and we worked through it, and it was caught early because of that particular area. Even the old stuff, with my older stuff, I mean, there was times I'd spot check something and I was like, yeah, I don't think this is a really long filler.
Yeah. There was a company last year that had to throw away 25,000 cigars because it was caught a couple of weeks before shipment, and they were just happened to spot check them, and it's like, oh, this one doesn't draw at all, like 100% locked up, So pull another random one, locked up, another random one, locked up, a couple dozen later, all locked up. Went back and talked to the roller, and was like, oh no, someone had written some translation, English to Spanish, Spanish to English, and it's like two things were mixed up, and it was 25,000 cigars had to be thrown away.
I had a pretty hefty shipment that came in a while back, and this is the old factory that freaking the whole shipment got tossed, had to be replaced.
Yeah, I've heard it before, never as much as that 25,000, but I've heard of several thousand cigars.
Yeah, mine was a couple thousand. I mean, it was boxes and bundles, and I remember we had gotten a couple bundles out. We shipped a couple bundles out to some folks, but nothing to a store. And then I decided to do my spot check, and when I opened it up, I was like, "What in great golly, Miss Molly is going on?" And it was all moldy tobacco.
Yeah. Man.
It was moldy tobacco inside the filler. Like the cigars were out on a pile, and it smelled like a freaking pile of moldy leaves.
Oh God.
And it was like, hey, here's what's going on. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm pretty fucking sure, man. I mean, I'm freaking Jen came home and started going into a freaking asthmatic freaking response of the freaking I mean, it just smelled like an old moldy home. And it's like, all right, well, I think it's about time to, maybe we ought to fucking reevaluate some things. But I was telling Jennifer, I'm like, we just got to make sure that when we got our stuff, we're always doing quality control, always spot checking it. You got to sacrifice a few, cut them open, make sure everything's long filler, make sure everything's good to go. No matter how much good QC Chris has, I have, you never know. So you always got to make sure, keep everyone honest. And so far, everything's been fantastic. I mean, I'm waiting for my Robustos to come in. We had to place another order because we sold out of Robustos. And I got to write up my press release.
My knees starting to sore. Let me get my bucket. All right.
I got to write up the press release, and I'll make sure I send one for the Stogie, the Cigarprop, they're starting the process that the Stogie Road cigars, Core 4, the Edition 35, the Gringo, the Big Tony, and the Sandella. We have the Toro and we have the 5x56 Robustos. There's our standard line. We do the Lanceros once a year, and a new addition to the standard line is we are going full on production of the deconstructed barber pole.
Yeah, right on.
So that's a go. They're going to be Corona, just like the cigars that we use for our events, which were a big hit. And they're going to be sold in 2-packs for now. I mean, eventually, we know they may be released as singles. Depends on the popularity of them, but as of right now, they're going to be sold in 2-packs.
Yeah. Have you ever thought? And there's been a couple of companies that have done it in the past, wrapping them in one cigar band. Than having or are you just going to do two or one cigar band, one unbanded?
No, I mean, I think for now we're just going to do our cigar bands, our standard cigar bands.
You gonna do them on both cigars?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think and there is some conversation right now going back and forth where I need to look in getting a second band for identifier purposes. So not only for them, but I just think for just the core line, I think it's great and it's awesome to see that cigar band on there, but man, just to have it, foot bands are useless. I want to have that secondary band that either says Gringo, Edition 35, Big Tony, Sandela, so the name is there, they know what they're smoking, and it's just not, well, I'm smoking one of these Stogie Road cigars, I'm not really sure. And then doing something with the with deconstructed. We're still kind of in, because we just placed the order the last week, so we still have some time, and Chris and I have been kicking around a few ideas on how to release these and how to present them. I don't want to go on the full on uber expensive coffins of two cigars.
God, no. Yeah,
it would look cool as shit. It would be awesome.
Yeah,
but then you're going, you're going from an affordable fucking, $15.99 for 2 cigars to freaking like $25.99 because of the boxes and shit. But we're kicking around a few ideas on how we want to present these and how we're going to move forward with them. So I know I do still have some from the event, my events that I've been holding on to. One of the cigar shops here, Boda, who's always been a huge supporter, and I'm going to talk to Matt up in Ned's on releasing those cigars to them and selling them, and then do combination packs right now for the holidays where you can get a Mexican San Andreas and a Candela, and then have a Sandela and have all 3 of them in a pack.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things that we're going to do around the holidays for that and online as well. But
I think, like I said, a good packaging, because I think it's and I sent you one of the packaging. I think I've got one of the boxes right here, because I'm going to look into having, hold on, let me take my headphones off. Because I'm gonna look into having these boxes made for myself as well, because I think it opens up, because it's never been done before. So I think there are certain cigar shops, that would bring that in just because it's something different. Is I would sell it as a 2-pack. Each have their bands on there, but then I would shrink wrap each 2 cigars, and then having them in these cool boxes. And I sent you the one for I think there's like a dozen companies that have these boxes. They're all the same. I think Sanj with the SP 1014 had the same one. You could tear off and have them be a display, and have the name on there, and then do some cool graphics on the deconstructed. But I love that. I mean, for me, I think that's an awesome selling point. If they don't want to bring your boxes in, maybe they're unsure of the brand. But something like this, it's like, hey, this has never been done before.
Yeah.
Like the deconstructed. So it's a shelf space, or just sitting on or a counter space by the register, or even the humidor. It kind of gets people talking, hey, what's up with the, cigar? So you just pull out a couple of 2-packs out of here. I don't know. I'm going to look into having these boxes done as well, but
no, I like that idea because you can even with the way that those are built and the way that they're made. I mean, you can freaking just get them shipped to your home, just freaking broken down, and then just assemble them at home.
The company I use out in Tampa, I'm assuming that's probably where these were made. It's one of the largest companies in the U.S. that makes them. I can't see. Obviously, quantity is, but if you ordered 5,000 of these boxes, there's no way these boxes are more than a nickel a piece.
Right?
No way.
It'll be interesting. I mean, that's I actually kicked around the whole cardboard thing with Chris, and then we talked about doing a special like display tray with all the blends in it. So, and it's like I don't know, man. You go into cigar shops and you're just looking at the freaking at the shelf space, and then you're looking at the cigars. And you're just like, man, it's like every single thing, every single idea we could talk about has a legit freaking justification behind it.
Yeah.
Like if I said I'm just going to do 10 count boxes like I used to, 10 count box is not a big commitment.
Yeah.
Well, I can do a 20 count box because a 20 count box is smaller and takes up less space. And it's like, well, I could do cardboard because and then you sit there and then you end up and I think for me, especially when it comes to all these different creative ideas, because I love the creativity behind all of them, I think I get into this over-analysis paralysis. I overthink things, and then I'll start thinking about everything from a justification to a 10-count box, to a 20-count box, to a 10-count box, which is 5 and 5 versus 10 across. And then it's just like, then I go, well, trays, man. Trays make sense. They look great, and it's like, well, then you got to deal with, tray space, and then you also got to deal with, unfortunately, when you walk into a shop, I think the average cigar smoker, when they see a tray, they think of cheap and expensive.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to do like a diesel display where it's like a freaking ridiculous, whatever the hell they did with their, beautiful freaking marketing, brilliant marketing, but I'm not going to freaking, I'm not going to have them design a freaking, some sort of deconstructed scaffolding building and put freaking cigars in it,
but what about so you got a shop that wants a 10 count box. So say you take your box that you have, because you've seen the like the dividers in the humidors, or and they have like the little foam sleeve on the side so you could wedge it in there. What if you had someone like, we only want 10 count boxes, and it's like, okay, so this is the box. But if you want a 20 count, you have another box that slips over it and it pulls up. Then you could put 20 cigars in there, or you could slide it up and down, depending on, I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know what Transformer shit you were just trying to sell me. It's an adjustable box. So depending on if you want someone that's got 20, you shimmy the box up a little bit, you put 10 more cigars in there. I don't know. Yeah.
I got like 50,000 ideas in my head. And I'm like, I could just roll into 2023 and be like, they're all bundles. I'm selling them all online. Everybody go fuck off.
Yeah.
So it's I'll start my own cigar club.
That's all I'm doing is I'm doing all mine bundles, packages. Like I said, once I get into cardboard, I'm probably going to have 2 cardboard boxes made. One a thin one for a 5 count, kind of like our Fratello, we're doing in the small 5 count sleeves, and then same thing on some boxes. All the boxes will be the exact same. Just put a sticker on there or something. We had this conversation on one of the shows that I was a guest on, I don't know, months ago, and it's just like one of the I don't know who it was, and they're talking about just wasting boxes, because we all hate wasting beautiful cigar boxes, and we all throw tons of them away, and it's like, when is the industry going to get their shit together and just go to cardboard, something a little bit more reusable, something a little bit more environmentally friendly? And I think it's going to take, and like we said during that show, it's going to take one of the major manufacturers to finally say, you know what, we're done. Enough is enough. We want to be a little bit more environmentally friendly, and then it'll be a wave across the industry. Now you'll have some, like Padron, Fuente, your high Liga Privadas, like I said, those are always going to be in, boxes.
I think when we talked about this, a few of the concerns I could see are legit concerns, and it's like, okay, what happens if, you have, like this wooden box could definitely withstand more damage than a cardboard box.
Yeah.
If there's water, it is humidification, in a humidor, and I get all those arguments too. And it's like, again, I go back to what I stated earlier before I even said anything is every argument's got a legit freaking argument. I mean, every one. And it's like, okay, so, which fucking curtain do you fucking select, because, it's like everyone's going to be legit. It's like, you look at the Ezra Zion stuff they're doing, or, when they do those guys up in West Virginia, they're always posting, and I was in a humidor, everything's in butcher paper and a sticker on it.
Yeah.
Everything. And it's like, it probably took a little bit of time for people to get used to that, but now after they've been doing it for so long now it's just expected. It's like, if you got an Ezra Zion freaking special blend in a box, you're probably like, what the fuck is this? Because you're not expecting it. They've normalized that with the way that they release their cigars, and I think that's brilliant. It's just it's not only being able to normalize how you're doing things, whether it's a 10-count box, 5-count box, trays or whatever. It's also getting the buy-in and then getting the shop that is selling your cigars to understand it, buy-in, and then also do more than just walk into a humidor and point at cigars.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's I think it has always been the problem. It always will be the problem, and that's the tough thing to really kind of deal with. It's like, well, I don't know, man. You're a local brand. I don't have people asking for local cigars. Well, did you ever fucking tell people you have a local brand when they walk through the door? Oh, well, I just, I know what they like when they ask for stuff. Oh, so you want stuff that's just going to sell easily. You have to put an effort in. You have to have a conversation.
And it doesn't take, they don't have to put any effort in when you think about on some locations, you put a shelf sticker on there. Stogie Road Cigars, locally owned and operated here in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Or if you ship out of state, locally owned, same thing, South Carolina, whatever. And then that strikes up a conversation. Maybe someone's like, oh, hey, this is a local dude. Let me ask another question about this cigar. You don't have to sell it per se, but just do a little due diligence.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, and I again, I kind of go through that whole thing of saying, okay, well, how would I do this? Well, I know how I would do it. Doesn't mean everybody else is going to do it. It just doesn't mean it's going to happen. And that part can be really, really kind of frustrating, to be honest. I mean, just from dealing with it over the years. But I was looking for this artwork I was dealing with, and oh man, probably won't be able to find it right now. But I was kind of like messing around with different types of logos and taking like this, we worked hard to change our logo and work on things because I really wanted this logo to I wanted it to pop, I wanted it to look different. And I love the whole concept of the concert poster look, which is what I was going for. And it's like, I just, because I can't remember where I was on I was on the folks, the International Cigar Lounge. We were doing they were asking me some questions. We were talking about some things, and I said, I'm like, I got a cease and desist, which kind of sucked, but we had a pretty good concept going with the the El Viajante and the Stogie Road Diaries, and each freaking blend was going to be a different chapter. Now here, Kevin, look at this. Here's what I was here's what I was going to do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I remember seeing that a long time ago. I thought it was Africa.
That's
but you're asking the wrong person. I don't know where. Yeah. I don't know where anything is. So
good point. I could have put it.
You could have put Florida on there, and I'd have been like, "Oh yeah, sweet South Carolina, I see it." You know,
Kerr, why are you putting Africa on your thing?
Yeah,
I don't know. Why not?
Yeah,
just randomly picking continents.
Yeah.
Next week will be Europe.
Yeah.
I realized when I showed that picture, I was looking over to the side here. All I could see is this dead stare. Like, I don't know. Established in Greenville, and you have the Africa, Kerr. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the connection is. I don't know.
Why do you have the star up in northern? What's up in northern? Is that Egypt?
Yeah. You know, I was looking at a map today because we have the guys from Big Sky Cigar on tomorrow, and I'm like, I guess I should probably know where Montana is, because the only thing I know about Montana is I learned everything from the Hunt for Red October. That's all I know about Montana. I gotta marry a big round American woman, and I'm gonna live in Arizona in the summertime. And
I want to marry a large round woman and live in Montana. I think I live in Montana, and she can cook me a rabbit.
No, he was going to raise rabbits, and she was going to cook for him every night. But that's all I know about Montana. So I zoomed out kind of to see where it was, and then I'm still blown away. South America, God, that's way far over than I ever imagined. I was looking at that again today, going, "Damn! Like there's more countries to the east of Florida, in South America than I ever thought was possible." I thought everything was under Texas. So, but I didn't realize how big Montana was, and
oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's God's country, man. That is just that whole area, Wyoming, freaking Montana, beautiful.
Yeah, it's obviously I think they have more national parks than something like that. I don't remember reading something like that. But beautiful country out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, when you start watching all these different shows and movies, like we were watching Yellowstone, and they did the prequel to it. They did that miniseries, 1883 or whatever. And I like watching those movies because I'm just a big fan of them. But it's also educational when you learn on how people came to America, leaving their different countries in Europe and coming here because they're like, I'm going out west because you can buy land. There's free land out here.
Oh yeah, they're giving it away.
All I gotta do is just pull up and be like, I don't see any houses. It's my land now. That's what they were doing. And Montana was like that big area where you're going out there, it's middle of nowhere. There was no, there you go to an area where you're hoping there's not a lot of Native American activity, and you just freaking playing out a freaking area. And it's like, okay, fast forward 100 years later, 150 years later, and you're like, yeah, he's 100 acres has been my family for over 100 years.
Yeah.
Well, did you buy it? No, my dad pulled up and parked the wagon and said, I'm gonna, as far as I can see, that's what I own.
Yeah.
Someone pulls up and says, "Hey, can I move here?" Yeah. You see that tree over there? Yeah, you can build your house on that. That's my land, right, all around here.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I remember reading the story of when we were just becoming a country. People weren't coming over here. It was a big, almost like an anti-America tourism in Europe. It's all flat. They don't even have animals to hunt. It's all flat land, and it was one of the founding fathers had sent crates of and one of them was a moose. Had shot and killed a moose and all these other animals and shipped them over via crate. Over to Europe to the whatever sporting authority over there. Like, yeah, we don't we don't have animals, and like they had never seen like a moose before. Like, what kind of creature is this?
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, you know, that's when a mass influx of hunters coming over and people just coming over. It's like, hey, it's, you know, we're not flat. We have animals.
All the trappers getting the freaking different pelts and stuff. I mean, it's amazing how, you know, how that occurred. And then, you know, in 1883, they had a bunch of people that they called gypsies, right? And I think they were all kind of from the Germanic area, you know, Yugoslavia, like that whole area, you know, in Europe. And came over here and they're like, well, we left there because, you know, we're freaking sucks over there.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have anything. We don't have any land. You know, the you know, our own government freaking hates us and pushes around. So we came over here and, you know, and we're kind of met the same way. But I want to be able to go somewhere and just freaking everybody was going out to like freaking Oregon, Washington, California, because that was the freaking promised land. That's where, you know, everybody was building up. You can get freaking, you know, land for cheap. Everybody was freaking settling out in those areas. So it's amazing when you take a look at the population density and the ethnicity and the background of folks from different areas. It makes you wonder, well, how comes there's, you know, these many freaking, you know, Polish live in this particular area? Well, if you freaking do some research, you'll find that that's where, you know, when people came here from Poland, that's where they all freaking gravitated to, and that's where they all settled.
Yeah, and then when you get a dozen and a couple hundred, and then as people coming over, they learn, you know, like in the western part of Grand Rapids, the Michigan, huge Dutch community, because there's still tons of farmland out there, and same thing, you know, just a couple of families settled out there, and then other people coming over. Well, we want to be near, you know, people like us, speak our language, and next thing you know, it's, you know, they have a town, Holland, Michigan, you know, and that's like you said, it's just where they gravitate towards. And
well, it just happened in Pennsylvania, where I'm from. You know, it's all Dutch, all Pennsylvania Dutch, the Amish Dutch. I mean, it's just, you know, you start reading the folks coming here from Germany, you know, from different countries, and they just like boom, they land. There's farming. There used to be, you know, they were farmers, great freaking fertile land. We're going to start farming. You know, there's pockets in our areas too that have, that had a high Italian and Irish population, because we had mines, you know, and that's where it was. It was like, you know, they're going to freaking have the Irish and the Italians are mining in these particular areas, open pit mines. And that's where you get, everybody settles in this area. But yeah, where I'm from, it's heavy Pennsylvania Dutch, they call it. And it's just, even my mom's side of the family, they're all from Germany. I guess their family came from England through Germany, you know, and that was kind of their route that they had taken. My dad's side of the family was my grandmother. They came here from Sicily. I think my grandma like worked in factories at like 10 years old, you know. Working in a cotton factory, you know, at 10 years old. And then my grandfather's side, they're Slavic. They're from you know, they're Czechoslovakian. So I think my great grandmother, my nana, she was basically a mail order bride. You know, it was, hey, we got this guy over in America, you know, he's Slavic, and he needs a wife. Well, here, we'll send someone over from the freaking old country, and you got to marry that guy when you get over there. Yeah. You know, so it is pretty interesting when you do your research on that stuff.
Oh yeah, when a woman knew her role. Yeah, that's a good thing the girls aren't on tonight.
Shit we could say when Jessie and Jen aren't here and not have to worry about getting yelled at.
That's it. What you mean by that? You know, that is always the after show conversation we have sometimes. You know,
just a statement. You know, yeah, back in those days. Oh, so you wish it was like that again? I didn't say that. I'm saying that was back in those days. When,
yeah.
You know,
I'm never one of those guys, you know, that you always hear those people like, oh, I'd have done great in the the 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, or the 1800s or what. I'm like, no, horrible fucking time to be alive. Horrible. Yeah. I would be I'm 45. I'd be the oldest guy in the village if I was still alive.
Yeah. No, when I was younger, you get a freaking, if I think of 20-year-old Kerr here, in 1990, versus 20-year-old Kerr in 1890. It's like, booze and I get to carry a gun. That'd have been dead.
Oh yeah. And I only took a bath once a month, and my wife only took a bath once a month, and no,
I'd been fine with that. I mean, but it's just the lawlessness and just just after booze. It's like now you just wonder if someone's just a jerk and they get drunk, they're gonna take a swing at you. Back then it was freaking someone's gonna take a shot at you.
Yeah, that's it, and be justifiable. They have to give your wife a horse and 3 goats, to make up for it.
All because you're offended. Because you're offended. You may have offended someone because you wanted to buy them a drink, and they took it as saying that they didn't have money.
Yeah,
ask you want to buy a drink, friend.
Yeah, crazy. Speaking of friend, I was thinking about come around friends and joy. Have you been watching Dirty Fabian? All his every day is he's been celebrating the national days every month. And it was Raisin Bran Day, Clean Out Your Fridge Day.
I've seen some of them. It kind of cracks me up because Matt's been doing that from Ned Cigars. He always talks about what national day it is.
Oh, has he?
Yeah. Always pulls out. It's always some wacky and today is freaking Clip Your Toenails Day, National Clip Your Toenails Day.
Yeah, and then some days have multiples. This is National Ice Cream Day and National Squash Day or whatever. It's like what? I mean, we only have 365 of them. Once they're gone, they're gone. You can't keep having more. You could have National Administrative Secretary's Day. We're going to call it what it is. Secretary's Day and Ice Cream Day. Those go together.
Get your secretary.
Yeah.
And you know what? Today, November 20th, is National Absurdity Day.
Okay.
National Child's Day and National Peanut Butter Fudge Day.
What is going on? What is? I don't. Yeah.
I don't know. We should just make up our own.
I know. National Safe Space Day. National. What's the National Day of being triggered? That's the that's a Bill Burr thing right there. Yeah.
So our National Wipe Your Ass with the Opposite Hand Day.
Yeah. Oh my God. So what do you think next week's game? Ohio State, Michigan. I forgot to look. I think Oklahoma State was playing today. That was a rivalry. I forgot to look at the scores.
I know that
at the end of the day.
I know that University of South Carolina upset freaking Tennessee.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
No way.
They got fined. They must have stormed the field or something.
Tennessee or South Carolina?
South Carolina. They won.
Yeah. Well, you never know.
Yeah.
Wow, they upset Tennessee.
Yeah, it was 63-38.
How is that possible? Oh my God.
It's college football this year has been one of the most exciting things to watch because it is like any given Saturday. I mean, I told you when I looked at the last couple of games for Michigan before Ohio State, I'm like, they always struggle against Iowa. They always struggle against it. And freaking they barely beat freaking University of Illinois.
If it wasn't for that penalty at the end, Michigan wouldn't have had another chance.
And then
the game would have been over.
And then I checked the score. I'm like, Maryland looks like they're gonna beat Ohio State, Kev. Like going into the big rivalry game. How do you go into big rivalry game? I was ranked number 2 and number 3, but I lost to Illinois and we lost to Maryland.
Yeah. But that was Maryland, 2 years ago? Came down to the last 5 seconds of the game. We beat Maryland that game. But I wonder what the rankings are going to be tomorrow then. Who moved,
I don't know, but I was watching. We were at this eating last night, and I was watching Georgia play Kentucky, and I was watching the game, and I'm like, fucking Kentucky could beat Georgia. Like, they gave them a game.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a couple of errors, and then the freaking referees called intentional grounding, and Kentucky's fucking went batshit crazy. But I'm sitting there going, they're like, it was conceivable that Kentucky could beat Georgia.
Wow.
And there's been no real team this year that's just been a steamroller.
No,
freaking from beginning to end.
No, not a single one. And so it'll be interesting to see what the rankings come out on Tuesday. You know, I'll be interested. I mean, I'm sure they're out tonight. You know, the AP and the coaches poll and everything else. So I'll have to look those up. But see where they're going to place everybody. Be interesting. And then of course Saturday. You know, that'll, I mean, you got number 2 and 3. You know, potentially 1 and 2. You know, it's one of those teams has to be bumped out of the top. Do they bump them out of the top 5? I think so, because I think like the top 6 or 7 are all undefeated. So
it's Georgia's 1, Ohio State's 2, Michigan's 3, TCU's 4, and they're all undefeated.
Yeah.
Then from there you have USC in California. They're 10-1. LSU's 9-2. Clemson is at 7, 10-1. Bama 9-2 at 8. Tennessee 9-2 at 9. And Oregon rounds up the top 10 with 9-2. And Penn State's, limping in at 11. I mean,
okay, so it's only the top 4 that are undefeated.
Top 4, yeah.
Okay, so it'd be interesting to see, where Ohio State and Michigan. So technically, if they're one loss, they could still either one could still stay in the top 5.
TCU plays Iowa State, right?
Yeah.
So and USC plays Notre Dame.
Okay.
That game there, in my opinion, is going to be the determining factor on the top 4, because let's just say TCU beats freaking Iowa, right?
Yeah.
And let's say Ohio State beats Michigan, right?
Yep.
So now you have Georgia is 11-0, and their game is against Georgia Tech next week. So let's say Georgia wins. So you have Georgia's undefeated, Ohio State's undefeated, TCU's undefeated, Michigan has 1 loss, and USC has 1 loss. If Notre Dame upsets USC, then they'll go up in rankings, but Michigan will still be in that top 4 with 1 loss. So if USC wins, they could conceivably be tied for number 4 or move up to number 4 and Michigan down to number 5. But I think I still think it's you're still looking at Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU as your top 4 teams, and USC has an outside shot of making that top 4 depending on what happens with Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU.
Yeah. Man, it's going to be a hell of a. This is the Saturdays that we remember, back 10 years ago, easily 10 years ago, where it was like you didn't know what was going. I mean, there was just so many things that could happen, and these are the weekends I love.
No, definitely
college football. This is college football as it should be.
It is. And LSU, I'm trying to find out who they're playing here. It's LSU plays Texas A&M, and A&M's been playing some tough football too. Yeah. And Clemson's last game of the season is South Carolina. So Clemson's got to come in and play South Carolina. They also have a UNC too on December 3rd. But they're going to be coming. I mean, Clemson only has 1 loss. So there could be a weird – it depends on the games here. They could oddly be freaking still ranked in that top 4 or 5 if a couple of freaking games go south.
Yeah, because it's one of those games, say Ohio State loses. Now everybody is watching we need this team to lose. We need this team to lose. We need this to win. And that still saves our season. It's one of those.
USC and Clemson, LSU, I don't know, man. They got 2 losses, but they're still ranked above Clemson. But LSU still has Georgia to play at the end of the year. They still have Texas and they have Georgia. Michigan just has Ohio State, and that's it. Ohio State has Michigan, that's it. But Georgia still has freaking Georgia Tech and LSU. They're playing on December 3rd. So, I mean, whoever, in my opinion, whoever wins the Ohio State-Michigan game is going to be in the best possible position of possibly being ranked number 1 or number 2. Depends, because there's a lot of mixture between the Georgia, TCU, LSU, Clemson games that are going on in USC. Just way too many opportunities for them to freaking drop one or two of those last 2 games, because one looks like a little bit of a layup, the other one looks like a little bit of a challenge, and it'll be interesting because it says USC is to be determined on the 3rd, and I don't know if that's
we could still be looking at Ohio State and Michigan still being in the top 5, both of those teams, and then you obviously you have the Big Ten championship, and then who gets invited, who doesn't get invited to the top 4. It's they're both the last teams. Ohio State plays and wins the Big Ten championship, but Michigan's still a 1-loss team. Do they both get into the top 4, for the playoffs? And
it depends on what happens with these other teams. I mean, it's Georgia doesn't. I mean, if I'm looking at Georgia, and after they came off of a 16-6 win against Kentucky, and it wasn't like a thrashing. It was close because Kentucky had the opportunity to score twice, and they effed up big time. Yeah. They're going to go into Georgia Tech and then LSU.
I don't think Tech has ever beat Georgia, or if it has, it was a long time ago. LSU probably might give them a little run, but
I think LSU will give them a run for their money. I think so. I mean, I really do. Tech, I don't think so. I mean, you're talking, they just have been. Nah, I don't see it happening. I don't. Yeah. LSU is going to be an interesting game against them, most definitely. And Clemson going in and playing South Carolina after South Carolina just beat Tennessee. And Clemson has shown that they're not exactly a dominant force either. I mean, that's going to be a very good game.
Now, are they coming to South Carolina, you said? Clemson?
They are in South Carolina.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting that.
Well, they're coming up to Clemson, so they're playing at home, which will be definitely helpful. Yeah, instead of playing down in Columbia, they're going to be playing up here in Clemson. But Alabama's got Auburn next, and those are always interesting games, man. Those are just.
Those were always,
interstate hateful teams, man.
I know. I'm just glad Alabama's just not on top. I like Nick Saban, even though he say he's a dick anyways, but I'm just glad to Alabama, their reign's over. Yeah. But they'll be back though. I mean, they lost. I think they lost 75% of their class, to the NFL. So, it happens to everybody.
Yep. Nope, it is gonna be interesting to see how these are gonna pan out, and I'm telling you, I still think the next 2 weeks are gonna be a lot of fun. So next week's gonna be a blast. I think
it is, and I don't know. I said I want to say Ohio State's gonna crush Michigan. I don't know. I don't know that game. That's gonna come down. That's gonna come down to the last field goal. That's gonna come down to like the miss, it's 4th and goal. They went for it and they didn't get it, and it turned over on downs. And then that's going to be the end of the game. If we'd have just got it, if we'd have just got that one play or that one missed field goal.
Well, you figure when I look at Michigan's games this year, Michigan handled everybody pretty well. The one team that they actually was a little bit close was against Maryland, 34-27. Yeah. And you look at Ohio State's, games that they've played, they've dominated everybody. And I think the closest game was that one right out of the gates against Notre Dame, which was a little scary. And it's one with Maryland. So there's a lot of pluses and minuses and strengths and weaknesses with the team. with both teams on how they've been playing, and that's why I look at TCU. TCU was a tough game against Texas Tech, so Texas Tech is no joke either. I mean, it's TCU has not been blowing the doors out of these teams. They're squeaking out 38-31 against Kansas. They're squirting out 43-40 against Oklahoma State. So TCU is really kind of they've been had a brutal 11-0, but it's been a brutal 11-0 against a bunch of non-ranked teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which at some point, I get that your win-loss ratio is going to get you some nice rankings, but when you're freaking barely beating Kansas, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and none of them are ranked, you're kind of like, well, all right, let's take a look here. I mean, Clemson, and then you got Clemson. They freaking beat, a bunch of straggly little teams as well. And then they lost to freaking Syracuse.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, but your ranking is not going to be high when you're dominating Wofford and Louisiana Tech and Furman College. That's right up the road from here. It's going to be pretty interesting when you look at their strength schedule. I mean, Penn State gave Ohio State a nice little run for their money.
Yeah, that they did.
So, and then you look at Michigan freaking crushed them 31-10.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I'm excited about Saturday though.
I'm excited too. I'm going down to the local Harley dealership. And they have a huge outdoor area covered, and there's probably going to be 300 or 400 people out there watching the game. They got the giant screens set up, and
nice.
a lot of those guys are, because they open up at 9 a.m. For kegs and eggs. So yeah, I'm not going there. I'll go there when the game starts. Just shortly before. I'm not one of those diehards that going to be there at 9 a.m. and start drinking and pre-gaming and all that. That's
I'm too old for that.
I am way too fucking old for that.
No.
No,
but I got to find a place to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably just head down there, and a lot of times when I go down there for the smaller games, I'll usually come home at halftime because I can be home before the game restarts. But I'll definitely be chilling down there because I can smoke cigars outside and
perfect
hang out, watch that game. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I may go down to Cigar Lounge. I may go down to Boda's to see and have them. They usually have the games going on. Jen's going to be on call, so I'll probably find a place to sit down and smoke some cigars and grab some drinks, and hang out and watch a game.
Right on. I'll be texting
and message you.
yeah, that's it. That's the way. Because during those games, I always get tons of messages back and forth. Oh, not looking so good. Not looking so good. Did you see that play? And I'm like, yeah, of course I saw the play. Watching the same game you're on. Fuck off. Yeah.
And what's funny is 3 of my really good friends from back home are all Ohio State fans.
Yeah.
And it's like every year that it's guaranteed you get a freaking message from either Chris and Darren and Joe. and I'm a Michigan fan. I always freaking message them back. So this game's gonna be an interesting one.
It'll be quiet. I'm not messaging anybody. I'm not gonna make any post. Especially at halftime. Oh, look at that, we're up. Then come out and bite me in the ass at the end of the game.
Yeah, I just what's funny is like I'm not one who takes any of this stuff real seriously.
Yeah.
So I like to stir the pot a little bit, especially like some of my buddies who are real diehard fans, especially when it comes to like sports in general. I've never been. I'm passionate about the team I played for, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love stirring the pot with some of my buddies who are just diehard fans. I just love doing it. I can say I'm probably a little bit. I was not as much anymore, but I probably was a little bit more passionate about hockey and the Flyers than I was about any other sport. But man, if I know a friend of mine is a big freaking Penn State fan or something, I stir the pot a little bit, shoot one across the bow, just kind of sit back and just let the fucking fireworks, just kind of go off. And Joe gets a little bit more serious about his Ohio State game, so I'll definitely be rubbing it in.
Oh yeah, I'll have my Michigan Ohio memes. I'll make sure I download a good dozen of them and pop them up throughout the game. Those are always always got to do that.
Oh man.
So all right. I guess on that note, I'm Broadleaf Bully Kevin.
I'm Broadleaf Bully Kerr, and remember, bullies make good friends.
From Kev, Jess, Kerr, and Jen, we are the Broadleaf Bullies. Thank you for joining us, and remember, bullies make good friends.